This is Gene Adam, former lead singer of Iced Earth. Be sure to subscribe to Podcast and Stone, and don't forget, join our community on social media. Metal lives.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Iced Earth community, welcome to Podcast in Stone, the only podcast 100% dedicated to Iced Earth. I am joined with my co-host Chuck Hoskins, and we are both joined by the former lead guitarist of Iced Earth, Larry Tarnowski. Larry, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. Thanks, guys. How are you?
Doing good, man.
We are very good, man. For people that don't know what albums you appeared on, could you please jog their memory for us?
Sure. I was on Something Wicked This Way Comes, Alive in Athens, Horror Show, and then the Tribute to the Gods.
Okay. And you also played on the Melancholy EP covers as well, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
The substantial chunk of the Iced Earth catalog there. I will kick off with the first question. What were your early influences? Okay. And was there any particular guitarist that you looked up to?
As far as guitarists, my favorite of all time is Marty Friedman.
Nice.
And Jason Becker. As far as like my influential years of playing. Let's see, rhythmically, I loved Halloween. So like Kai Hansen, one of my favorites. I loved Exodus, Anthrax, old Megadeth. So those were some of my influences coming into Iced Earth. Of course, I was an Iced Earth fan when I first joined the band, so that was really exciting. And I liked a lot of the old classic, to me, classic, like Dio and Twisted Sister and stuff like that, too. So.
Okay. How old were you when you started playing, Larry?
I started in the 8th grade. So I don't know what age that is. 8th grade.
Thinking that's about 12, maybe.
Maybe 13 or something. Yeah. 14, in that area.
Nice. We had a question about your intro to Iced Earth. What was the first album / song that you remember hearing? And what was? Go ahead.
The first album that I heard was Night of the Storm Rider. That was my intro to Iced Earth. And then, of course, I followed them after that. The Burnt Offerings and Dark Saga, Days of Purgatory. So I followed them after Storm Rider.
Okay.
Well, what kind of led to your audition to the band? What was like the journey into like leading you to audition for them?
Yeah, so what happened, my guitar teacher at the time, he knew I was into Iced Earth, and he had heard that Iced Earth was looking for a new lead guitar player. And so he told me about it, and he gave me their contact information. So I put together a little promo packet. You had to have like a picture of yourself, and you had to do some of your demo work and all that. And so I submitted that, and I got a call back from John saying that they liked what I presented with them, asked if I'd come in for an audition. So I did that. It was actually me and my buddy Paul, because they were looking for a drummer too at the same time. And my buddy Paul was in my high school band called Dreamscape, which I'm going to kind of show you guys something a little bit later. So we actually both went down there audition at the same time. And then after the audition, we went back home. They said they'd give us a call back. When they called, they said that they're interested in me. They were asking, is this got to be a package deal, or is one person okay with becoming a member of the band, or not a member of the band, but, coming on board. And both my friend and I, our dream was to play live, and so we were supportive of each other. So I let John know about that, and then not long after that, he had given me a call and asked if I wanted the gig. And I said, yeah. And so that's kind of how I got into the band.
When you went,
go ahead, Chuck.
When you went down, was it in Indiana where you went down to try out?
It was, yeah, in Indiana.
Okay. Did you play like new stuff, or did you jam on some of their stuff, or what was that like?
Yeah, so what they had me do is learn some of their older songs. I think they specifically told me to learn X, Y, and Z song. And then they listened to us play it. Played some of our own songs too, I think, just so they could see what it would look like when you're feeling more natural. And then after that, because they were putting together something wicked at that time, they had me kind of improvise over some of the solo parts, just to see what my thought process may be like, or what I might come up with for the riffs that were already put together.
Okay.
I have an unusual question. Like, obviously you were auditioning to be kind of a guest musician for that. You're credited as a guest musician for something wicked. Was there a process after that record that you had to go through to actually become a full member? Or was you basically like, oh yeah, you done good, so you're in, kind of thing? Or how did that work after that record was done?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly. I think it was worded like I'm in a probationary period. A lot like when you start a new job, I think.
Right.
And so after a certain amount of time, I guess, they were happy with what I was doing. And then during one of our shows, don't quote me on this, but I think it was in Switzerland, where they came and announced that I would actually be a full-time member of the band, like in the middle of a set. And so that was pretty exciting.
Nice.
And you was...
So when... Go ahead, Jason.
I was just gonna say about how was it going on tour for the first time with the bands and visiting places you've not been before and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, that was totally exciting. I'm a huge ancient history and medieval history buff, so being able to see a lot of the places that I would read about or watch on TV, it was a dream come true. Like, some of the guys would be like asleep on the bus, and I'd be awake, just staring out the window, like, oh my God, look at that castle. Look at the ancient ruin over here. And for the people who live there, it's no big deal. But like for me, it was just pure excitement the entire time, just seeing the different countrysides, living in, Chicagoland area your whole life. You just don't get to see that kind of stuff, so. Yeah, it was really exciting. It was a blast. And there was like some homesickness too, because I was 19 or 20, so. And then they didn't have, I think cell phones were kind of a newer thing, so having to find a payphone in the middle of the night, because the time difference, of course, Jason knows pretty well about that.
Right.
Yeah, I miss that too.
Trying to call home and remembering country codes and stuff, like, shit, what do I dial? But it was fun. It was really exciting. I liked it a lot.
Nice. So your first recording experience was Something Wicked. Did you when you started laying down your tracks for it, was it pretty much all wrote when you started laying down your leads?
Yeah, the album was all put together, and then John showed me which parts he wanted solos for, or if there's a part where can you think of a melody for this? And so then I would take that home with me, like a demo version. I would come up with my stuff, and then present that to John, And then once it was okay, then that was taken into the studio in Florida, and yeah, did the recording down there.
Okay. With that record, a lot of people, there's a lot of Iced Earth fans that's their absolute favorite record. When you heard the final product, how did you, and Jason's one of them, how do you think that with your initial listen, how did that stand up to the old Iced Earth catalog in your mind?
Oh, that's tough. I love the sound of it. It was, I mean, obviously incredibly exciting. They're like, holy shit, that's me playing guitar, I'm just some kid.
Right.
But I really liked the songwriting on there. I liked a lot of the riffs, like the Something Wicked trilogy was really cool. I thought it was a little bit more, I guess, maybe diverse of an album, like different types of songs throughout the album itself. But that's just my my personal, impression.
Was that time in the band recording for Something Wicked? Was that your first like really true hardcore studio experience recording with a band?
That's my first professional recording. I had done a couple demos with my old band and my high school band, which was fun and intensive, but not like this, of course.
Right.
So yeah, this was my first experience, and I was nervous as hell the whole time. But yeah, it was a blast.
Okay. After Something Wicked. Go ahead, Jason.
Go ahead, Chuck. I was
going to say, we've got to talk about Athens. The Something Wicked tour. I'm lucky enough that I got to see it twice. You guys came to my hometown in Cincinnati twice that tour. Can you tell us about the Grease fan? It's like a myth amongst Iced Earth fan. Can you tell us about Grease, the fans there? Is it all that it's hyped up to be?
It kind of is. It was surreal, even though like the whole experience for me was surreal from beginning to end. But when I first got to Greece, I remember John saying like Iced Earth is like really big there, and like, okay, I've seen it like in Germany and throughout the other parts of Europe, and like, hey, that was pretty fucking cool playing Wacken in front of like 30,000 people. And so I'm like, how much more intense could it get? But yeah, you get there and you try to get into your hotel, but the hotel is like surrounded by freaking fans all day long. And wherever you go, they follow you. I just couldn't fathom it. It was just so weird. I'm not used to that kind of attention. And you go to a restaurant and like people are like chasing after you to a restaurant, and you're trying to eat and people are coming in asking for autographs while you're eating, and it was weird. It was like, those guys are passionate. Those guys are really passionate, and I mean all Iced Earth fans are. But it was just a totally different feel. It is what the hype is. So yeah.
I was gonna say before I let Chuck talk, I was just gonna fanboy a little bit and just say there's a deep cut of Something This Way Comes called Consequences, and I think your solo on that is one of my favourite solos of all time. The solo on Consequences is fucking amazing, and people don't talk about that song enough, and it's amazing, and people need to listen to that song more often.
No, I appreciate that, man.
And speaking of Greece, though, how does it feel? I probably know your answer already, but how does it feel to perform on a live album that a lot of people see as one of the greatest live albums ever put to record? Because it's incredible.
Thanks. It's still weird looking back on it. Now, when we had done that, I wasn't in the band for very long at that time, like less than a year. So I was still learning all the songs, and it was a real big challenge for me. Just trying to memorize 3 hours worth of songs.
Right.
So that was very stressful. And then just like the importance knowing that it's being recorded. Like, oh my God! Not only have I only been playing for a year with these guys, it's being recorded, and they're going to do an album on it, and it was very stressful, very fun, just an intense experience.
Well, I'm going to be the first one to say that you nailed it, my friend. Fucking nailed
Yes.
it.
Oh, thanks.
And like when
The
I was just going to say when I watched the DVD that Century Media put out, which a lot of people, I know Schaefer is not too happy about that DVD existing, but like when I watch that and just see your face and just the joy in your face when you're just on the stage, just fucking shredding, it's such a joy to see, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I loved every minute. I keep using the word honor. It's always been an honor for me just to be on a stage performing for people, and like people enjoying what you're doing, what you're playing it's one of the best feelings in the world. I'm always a metal fan. I'm always just a fan in particular. And I know what it's like being in the crowd, looking up, and just being in awe. And so I always made sure that I tried to give my all on stage because I know how important it is to the people watching the shows. So essentially, I'm just a fan who gets to play on stage. It's kind of how it is. So it's always exciting.
I thought the set list for Athens was incredible. Deep cuts from Burnt Offerings and just all across the whole catalog. How hard was it to learn Dante's Inferno, and was that tough on you physically to play such a long song like that?
The length of the songs didn't affect me so much. It is mostly having to learn other people's stuff. Because I was never very good at learning other people's solos, or I never learned songs. Excuse me, like I never was into like playing covers when I was learning how to play. So it was always very difficult for me to go back and learn what somebody else was doing. So that's where the stress and the difficulty came in. Not so much like the length of a song.
Okay.
Having to have the endurance, that wasn't a problem.
Did John encourage you to stay true to Randall's solos, or did he just say, make it your own, or do you recall?
I remember him wanting me to keep it as close to the original as possible. But again, I was just never very good at learning other people's solos. So I did my best. I know the things that I had played were not 100% accurate, I'm sure. So I had to just keep it as close as possible.
Oh,
I think you've done I think you've really done the Randall stuff proud. I think you've done it really well.
absolutely.
I appreciate it. He's got a really difficult style. It's very different. And yeah, I mean, I'm giving him all the credit in the world because he has a very interesting and unique style, and it's hard to replicate.
So that brings us to Horror Show.
All right.
So you're
Sorry.
in the band. I know you have one writing credit with Emotep. How much were you involved in the writing process of that? How much did you see it coming along?
With that particular song, somebody had asked what parts that I had come up with. The parts on that song that are mine would be like the intro part, like the riff and melody, and outro part, which is the same as the intro, and then the rhythm underneath the guitar solo. when it comes to the writing, of course, it's John's band, it's his baby. So he would listen to whatever you had to bring to the table. If it happened to work within whatever his idea or vision was, he would use it. So he took those parts and incorporated with whatever he was doing at that time. And then just basically showed me, okay, this is what the song is going to be like. So that's kind of how that went.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers the question.
How do you feel about that album? How do you feel about the direction of that album compared to Something Wicked? I think me and Jason have recently done our horror show episode, and we think it's one of the most well written of the Iced Earth albums. How did you feel in a whole about that album when it came out?
I love the sound of it, like the production of it. Horror Show versus Something Wicked, in my opinion, I think Horror Show had a better flow to it. Like it from start to finish, I think it was put together really, really well. I don't know, a lot of that had to do with a lot of planning on John's part. He knew what he wanted to do, and he went about it, and he did a really good job with it. So, I mean, I was really excited with that album. I really liked the way it came out. I liked the sound of it. And it was just really fun songs to play, too, which was probably something that was already put into consideration during the recording of it. But that's my guess.
How was your mindset going into the second tour? Was you a lot more excited and like at ease since you had kind of already had a couple of years touring under your belt?
I was more comfortable going into it. But this is also going to tie into the eventual departure.
Okay.
During that time period, so I guess I can kind of answer a couple questions at once here. So during that time period, after having done a number of tours, after having seen how things kind of work, my heart was not in it as much as it used to be, like as it was initially. And a lot of times my mind was on something else. I was going to school, like my entire time in Iced Earth, I was in college. So I'd like, when we're not on tour, I'd take some classes and here and there. Even during the recording of Something Wicked, I brought books with me to study because when we were done recording, I had to go home and take finals. But anyways, my heart slowly started moving away from it. Honestly, a lot of it had to do with lack of involvement. But again, that's to be expected because it's not my band. And because of that, naturally, when your heart's not in something and your mind is somewhere else, your playing starts to slip. You know, even if you're at your job, your performance starts to decline. And people around you know it. They see it. And so John had noticed that as well. And then throughout time, you know, it's been brought to my attention. He noticed that, you know, my playing's not as tight as it used to be, which is what ultimately led to the departure, where it was getting ready for the Glorious Burden album. I had been given a demo for all the songs to put down solos. I wrote all the solos. And at that time, in my mind, I wanted that to be the last one that I did. But I never communicated that. Because the stuff that I had come up with, I thought was like my best stuff. But I never got to come into fruition. Because like before they went into the studio, John had called and said, he thought that it was good for us to part ways at that point. So that's kind of how it ended. Like I said, my heart was slowly but surely moving away, thus leading to a decline in my performance. And when you're playing live on stage, you want it to be tight, and if it's not tight, you're not doing your job. So John had to make the decision to go in a different direction there. So that's kind of how it came to the end. As far as my time in the band, John ultimately had to make that decision to let me go.
Was this
so that's how that happened.
Or after? Was this before or after Matt's exit? Was Matt out before you, or was that after you?
Matt's exit was shortly after mine.
Okay.
I want to say, don't quote me, but I want to say after The Glorious Burden, I think that's when Matt had left.
Matt left before. Because Tim came in. Yeah, because Tim came in for The Glorious Burden.
Okay.
Yeah, but remember Chuck, that Tim.
But Matt did the demos.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say.
So kind of both.
Yeah, I was going to say Tim came in last minute.
Yeah, the finished product was Tim, but Matt did the demos. So I was just curious whether Matt leaving had anything to do with you, with your attitude. But if you had already left, then you didn't even know.
Yeah, I had no clue about what was going on, behind the scenes. But I think I was let go first.
Okay. Now before that, you guys got Tribute to the Gods in.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of that. There's some people that really aren't into covers albums. I would like to know, when you guys went in to record that, did John say, let's iced earth this, or did he say let's keep it to the original? How was his instructions to you on playing on that?
Good question. Well, I know the overall philosophy going into it was, if you can't do something, if you can't make a song more special, or if you can't add anything to it that wasn't there in the original, then don't bother doing it. So I know he chose certain songs that he really, really liked, that he thought that was influential to him, and that he thought he could really do something special with. And I think they did a great job with the songs that they chose. That was by far the hardest thing I had to do. Like I said, I'm not good at figuring out other people's stuff. So I needed a lot of help. And a lot of that credit has to go to Jim Morris, because he had to really assist me in learning other people's guitar solos. So it was very difficult, but I love it. I mean, I think it sounds great.
Were you pretty familiar with the songs, or did any of them totally, I've never heard of this song before?
I had heard all the songs before, but Kiss, I'm not a Kiss guy, so I don't know those very well. I like Alice Cooper, but I'm just not really familiar with that particular song.
Right.
AC/DC, of course, everybody knows their songs, but I'm just not a regular listener to it. So I think the ones that I probably knew the best in my mind would be Maiden songs and the Judas Priest.
If iSurf came out and done another covers record, from a listener, obviously from the outside looking in, what would you like the band to cover? As just a music fan, what would you like to hear them cover in today's music kind of world?
That's a tough one. It's because a lot of the old stuff that I like, they probably would hate, because maybe I think it'd be awesome if they could do Stargazer by Rainbow. I think that would sound awesome. Let's see. But I love like Boston, but I don't know if Iced Earth playing Boston, I don't know how they would come out. Or like Styx, or like Rick Wakeman or something like that. I don't know. But those are like the older songs that I like.
I was having having some conversations with guys on our Facebook group. For those listening, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, it's facebook.com/groups/podcast and stone, be there or be square. But yeah, talking to our fans on the group and stuff, and we're all talking about Tribute to the Gods, and people were talking about how loads of people, like Chuck said, there's a group of people that love it, there's a group of people that think it's good, and there's a group of people that are a bit indifferent. I'm a bit indifferent. I'm not really a covers guy, but someone brought up a good point that I think would be pretty cool. I'm more interested in bands covering stuff that's not within their genre. So Iced Earth covering metal is a bit redundant to me because they're metal anyway. If they branched out and done some like covered, I don't know, like a country song or a pop song or something, that would be interesting to me because it's outside of their genre.
They covered The Highwayman was a country song, and I thought that they nailed that.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's good. That one is.
Yeah.
They had all those different vocalists guests on it as well.
Yeah.
That was actually good shout, Chuck. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So in your time in the band, you were only with in the Matt era, with them having several different lead singers. Which lead singer would you have liked to have recorded an album with, other than Matt?
I would say Stu, just because I love his stuff in Into Eternity. I love that band before he came on with Iced Earth. So yeah, I would like to work with Stu if I had a chance.
Wow. I was going to ask you later down if you were familiar with the Stu Block era.
I'll be honest, I haven't followed Iced Earth after my departure too much, so I don't know much about his work with the band. I just really love his stuff with Into Eternity, so that's what I'm basing it off of.
Okay, cool.
Did you when you in your time with the band, did you build a lot of friendships with certain members and stuff like that?
I did, like on tour, of course, like when Brent was playing, I'd hang out with Brent, I'd hang out with Jimmy a lot. When Rich came along, I was always hanging out with Rich. He's always a blast to hang out with. The guy's like one of the funniest people in the world, but also he's just so real, so down to earth. You can't not like Rich. Rich was a really cool guy. So I really enjoyed hanging out with Rich. Then like outside of the band, of course, you become friends with like other bands. I got along really well with the guys from Sentenced. I know they did a few tours with us, and they're also like just really down to earth, really cool guys. So yeah, those are like some of my friendships that I had developed during that time period.
It's funny you talk about Richard Christie and how he's like really funny. I've seen some of these really ridiculous skits on YouTube. Like something to do with a loincloth. I forget what it is, but it was absolutely ridiculous. Like it made no sense, but it was hilarious.
Oh, dude, you could do a whole episode on him because he would. He was like an amateur kind of like filmmaker, and so he would make these weird comedy horror movies. He'd always let me watch them, and I know he was working on one. Like we did some kind of like spoof song, "The Majestic Loincloth" or something. It was freaking hilarious. But yeah, he was always into weird, goofy kind of stuff. That's one of the things that makes him like real entertaining and interesting to hang out with.
Speaking of horror films, when it came to horror show, was there any horror movie icons that you wish the band would have explored musically? That they didn't?
That's a good one. I think they hit a lot of the major ones on there. I remember John taking a lot of thought into which ones to pick, which ones would make good songs. I don't think I can answer that. I don't know.
See, with me, like I'm an '80s baby, so I grew up in my teenage years like with a lot of the '80s slasher films, like Freddy Krueger, Leatherface.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would have been a thing that John would write about, because obviously a lot of the stuff off that record is a lot of like Universal, horror, like the
Classic.
Wolfman, just the classic stuff. But I can imagine like a horror show too with like more kind of modern '80s stuff, like Freddy Krueger,
Mhm.
Michael Myers, and Jason Voorhees.
That'd
And
be
stuff.
interesting. Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like horror show, a lot of the stories that were chosen, they kind of, they're like archetypical type, characters, like the universal type characters, like you had mentioned.
I think we were talking about this, Chuck, with the horror show episode. I was trying to explain to Chuck that in a lot of the songs, especially like songs like Wolf, there's a lot of melancholy in that song. There's kind of a sadness in there. If you think about it, where like even the righteous of man, the kindest, purest man and woman, doesn't really matter. Once they get bitten by the wolf, they're gonna turn into a beast and kill people. Like that's quite sad if you think about it. Like I don't know, I just felt a kind of undercurrent sadness in that song particularly. And if you, I don't know, maybe I'm looking into these songs a bit too deeply, but like it has that across all the songs really. Like Jekyll and Hyde is tragic. He's tormented by this evil spirit in his mind and stuff. It's just, and there's some romance in there as well. Like Dracula's a really cool love story and stuff. Phantom of the Opera, Phantom Opera Ghost is a kind of like dark romance story as well. Man,
I think it's the humanity, the true, human themes that still persist, even if something is perceived as being, purely evil or purely dark. There's always a theme or thread of humanity underneath, I think.
Looking back on the two main studio albums you were on, which one do you think stands the test of time as the better album between the two?
Oof. Tough.
I will answer for you. I will answer for you. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I think it's Something Wicked This Way Comes. I think that's what I'm being told.
I tell you what, man. Like, I'm just gonna fanboy a little bit. Like, Something Wicked This Way Comes to me, like, it's the perfect metal album. It can cater to anybody. If you're a music fan, I will give, even if you're into metal, I think people can dig it because it's just so well written. It's got melodies, it's got the hooks in there. Your solos are killer on it. It's perfection, man. If perfection exists, it would be this album.
I can see where you're coming from with that, because I think there's a song for everybody on there. So it is
absolutely,
a really great way to, I think, introduce somebody to the band is through that album. Yeah,
that's why when we done our retrospect episodes, I tried to kind of hit home that, like, you want a soft song. It's got some great kind of soft moments. Obviously, Watching Over Me being that big power ballad on there. Consequences being a really kind of soft one that no one talks about ever, and they should. It's awesome. But you've got these like absolutely heavy bangers on there, like Disciples of a Lie, fucking great.
Oh yeah.
And it's got my favourite song of all time on there, which is The Coming Curse, which has the greatest piano intro ever written ever.
It is very creepy. It fits it. I think it fits it really well.
And they don't play that live anymore. Well, they play the song live, but they don't play the piano bit. And I'm just like, how can you cut the piano bit out? It's part of the song, damn it.
Yeah, it was an awesome way to introduce the song. Like, you knew what was going to happen once that piano part kicked in. So that was part of the excitement on my end, my perspective.
Now, me and Jason have talked about this many times. When we introduce people to Iced Earth, his go-to song is Burning Times.
Yes.
And mine is Dracula. Actually, I've told many people to listen to Dracula. What's your thoughts on those two songs? Burning Times is like the greatest opener or second song I think that there is ever.
Second song, I like that because they play it second live. That's what he said.
It's good first though too.
Yeah.
It's like an awesome mid-tempo kind of song, you know, just has that good like stomping feel to it.
Yeah.
So,
It still hypes me up.
Man, like, my reasoning behind, you know, that's always the go-to song for me to introduce people to Iced Earth is because, if it was more if you're looking for like the epics, I would give them Dante's Inferno because it's ridiculously over the top and ambitious. But if it was more just a traditional, you know, 4-minute song, it has the riffs. It has a fucking riff, like yes please. That riff is just it's such a massive riff, man. It's got the
so
hooks.
Memorable.
It's got the hooks. It's got the melodies in there. Your solo is killer on it. It's just it's to me it's the quintessential. I can't say that word. Chuck, help me.
Quintessential.
Quintessential.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's that Iced Earth song.
It's great.
Quintessential Iced Earth song to me. Oh god.
So, Larry, what do you think the best Iced Earth album that you did not play on is?
I would say it's a tie between Storm Rider and Dark Saga.
Nice.
Good answer. Good answer.
Nice.
Those are two. Yeah, those are definitely two of my favorite ones.
I would if you haven't like listened to anything post your exit, I'd recommend it, man, because they've done some good stuff since. Like
Absolutely.
Glorious Burden is fantastic.
Well, I heard Glorious Burden in its demo version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, Something Wicked was the introduction to Set. How excited was the band about having, or did the mascot, or did it really matter much to you? Do you remember being excited when Set was introduced to the album covers?
I don't know if it felt excited, but I thought it was a really cool piece of art. And there was a lot of directions you can go with that artwork. But I don't know if excitement. I just thought it was really cool.
Fair enough.
Remember, Chuck, it wasn't a norm for Larry. It's a norm to us because it's a norm for me because when I got into the band, Set Abominator was already a thing. So
yeah, me too.
So maybe it was just there wasn't the norm factor. It was just like, oh, this is going to be this character. Okay, cool. Is that more or less it, Larry?
I think from my side, yeah.
On the horror show, you guys did a small leg with Megadeth. Was you able to interact with Dave any, or how was that for you being a Megadeth fan? I think Marty was already gone at that point, correct?
Yeah, and that's what I was disappointed about that because he's the only one I actually wanted to meet and talk to.
So the other guys, just want to meet him.
Well, they are very reclusive. I did get a chance to meet Dave Mustaine, but it was very brief. I remember him being very frail. Like I shook his hand, I thought I was going to break his arm off. He was like really, I don't know if he was thick or something at the time. But yeah, they kept to themselves very much.
Okay.
I did hang out with their road crew quite a bit because they were always available to talk to. So, but it was interesting. It was interesting the way that tour came about because, I'm sure a lot of people know. Initially, we were supposed to do a tour.
9/11.
Yeah, we're supposed
Priest
to do
and
the
Anthrax.
Yeah. I actually remember sitting in Matt's apartment and literally waiting for the tour bus to show up because it was supposed to begin that day. And I'm like sitting there watching the news, and they show a building on fire. I'm like, what the hell is this? And so, I grabbed Matt, and we're sitting there watching the news, and there's this building on fire, and then you see this other airplane kind of flying in. I remember looking like, God damn it, man, that thing is really low, and then smashes into the other building, and everybody's just like, what the fuck is going on? And then like the tour got canceled because Judas Priest couldn't even get into the country. Everything got shut down. I think they were in Mexico at that time. So we had to cancel that tour, and then when the Megadeth thing became available, that's when we jumped on that. And that was fun.
Larry, I'm just going to say your head's cut off.
Oh.
You were slightly decapitated then. I was a bit
Sorry.
I was a bit worried.
Sorry. Yeah.
All I saw was your lips going, yeah.
I apologize about that.
It's all right. Camera.
So,
it's fine.
You got some goodies to show us, I hear.
I do. I have a bunch of random things.
Are you gonna make us jealous? Don't
let
make
me
us
start
jealous.
with this. Remember, I was talking a little bit about, like I was in high school, I was playing in a band with some of my friends, and it was around that time that they invited me to come audition for the band. Well, hang on here. So the band I was in, you can see these things here.
Cassettes.
Yeah, we were called Dreamscape. And our very first one, I don't know how well this is coming out on your end.
I can see it well.
That's
Welcome
nice
to the
art.
what?
I like that artwork. The artwork's cool.
The name of our album was Welcome to the Realms. And I had no, at this point I had never heard of Iced Earth. So I thought that was interesting. And then our second one was this. I don't know if it's coming out at all.
Yeah.
I like the artwork. The artwork's cool.
Yeah.
And of course I got my copy.
Chuck's gonna be upset. Chuck's gonna. I don't have mine at hand, but I do have one. I think you know already, Larry, that I have a copy of that. Welcome to the 1000.
How did you get that, or did you already have it before you was in the band?
No, John gave it to me. It was kind of weird.
Okay.
Awesome.
I remember there was this record store by my house. It was called Red Tower Records. It shut down. But me and my brother used to go there every Sunday, and we'd go get like a new CD. And I remember we were walking around, and at that time, it's kind of hard to find out like what metal band is what, and like what's good and what isn't. So you kind of go based off like the cover and like the song title. It was like actually like a really fun experience checking out this new band. I remember my brother was having a hard time finding the CD he was going to buy that particular week. And I remember running across. This is before I started listening to Iced Earth, but I found one. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And it was the first Iced Earth album, and he passed up on it for some reason. But I thought it was kind of funny. Just the way that went out. But I do have some other things. Let's see. I'm going to have to probably take off my headphones for a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
But I'm going to try to show you something. I got that.
Oh my.
Oh.
Gold record live in Athens.
Oh my days.
That is beautiful.
I want that already. I want it on my wall.
Does that have your name on it?
The name and all that on there.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
That is just beautiful. Wow.
Hang on a sec, putting the headphones back on. Were you able to see? Did that come out?
Oh, that was beautiful.
I got Here's a magazine from Greece.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't know if you can see that, but everybody. So the front and
I think I've seen
back.
that on eBay.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. There's a German one. Rock Hard magazine.
Okay, I've never seen that one.
A lot of my stuff I was trying to look for is actually packed up.
That's okay. That's really cool seeing that album. That gold album was amazing.
I'm not sure where this is from, but it's in Spanish.
Roadie Crew. I've never seen that one either.
I think that was from the Something Wicked era.
Yeah.
I got... That was dumb.
Usually Iced Earth, it's easy to tell what era it's from because there's usually a different member each album, so that's usually easy to figure it out.
I don't think there's been an album to back with the same lineup.
Really?
I don't think there hasn't. I don't think there has
There's
been.
not been. Fingers crossed for this one.
This is the itinerary for Alive in Athens. Yeah. And it's really like from the promoters, talks about the history of Greece and all that kind of stuff. Here is a program booklet from Vaughan, 2000.
Cool.
Came with gamma ray stickers on the back. I thought this was really cool. It goes through every single band that played on each stage, what time they're playing. There's the Iced Earth played on the True Metal stage.
Of course, because they're true metal. Makes sense.
I think Chuck was about to ask something.
I was going to ask, how common was it for you guys to get those itineraries?
You got one every tour, at the beginning of each tour, just to let you know what cities you're going to be in and like stage or times to be on stage and what times to load in, all that kind of stuff. So you got one in each tour. And my very first note from our tour manager when I first went over there. So like you get into your hotel room and then you'd hear something slide underneath the door and it's usually like an itinerary for the day. And I still have this from my first time in Europe.
Welcome to the roller coaster, Larry.
That's what it was. Let's see what else. Some little goodies. I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time.
You're fine. Everyone's going to love this.
I know everybody likes looking at like your laminates.
Okay.
Oh man, I love seeing this stuff that fans don't generally get to see. It's great.
Right.
Here's for Something Wicked. You can see like Sentenced. And this blank spot here, at the time of this tour, the Spice Girls were real popular. So the tour manager had given each of the band members a Spice Girl name. And mine was Chicago Spice.
Chicago Spice.
I think that's ironic because they're British and I'm British, and it's kind of a little joke because I'm British and it's funny. Actually, I have a fun fact though. My band covered "Spice Up Your Life" for the Spice Girls, so there you go. There's my little intersecting
non-metal
story.
moment.
It was fucking nice, seriously, man. Like, people dig Spice Girls, and we metaled it up, man. It's awesome.
Dynamo.
Wow.
Coolio.
Grass Pop.
Grass Pop, nice.
So, Larry, when you went out on tour for the first time, was it?
Gods of Metal.
Nice.
Go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
So the whole the fallacy that when you go on tour for the first time, it's all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. How false is that? Because I can tell it's probably a lot of hard work.
I think it depends on the band. For us, it was like business all the time, you know, which is kind of how I like it. That's how I looked at it. I'm there to do a job. I'm there to perform for people. You know, you go some of these countries that you go to, the kids are saving up their money for months just to come see a concert. So I took it. You know, it's a personal responsibility to do the best that you can, because they're not paying money to go see a bunch of drunk guys falling all over the stage.
Right.
But yeah, so from my perspective, it was mostly rock and roll, not so much of the other stuff. I got a couple things here. So,
I hear a guitar.
some people had said something about like what was used as far as recording. And on the Something Wicked album, Something Wicked, I had this guitar.
Wow.
This is the cheapest Ibanez in the world. I'm kidding. It was like, maybe it's like a $250 guitar. It was like my first quote unquote real guitar. But this is what I used on Something Wicked.
Is that a sticker?
I was going to say, was the logo on there before you joined the band or after?
It was after. My buddy Jim, his dad owned a sign shop, and I think it's vinyl. So I don't know the process of it, but if it's done by computer, but yeah, this is actual vinyl, like a vinyl piece.
That's cool. That's awesome.
So that's pretty.
That was used on Something Wicked, huh?
Yeah, that was Something Wicked.
I'm waiting for a certain guitar to show up. The
purple Athens.
The icon, yes. That's awesome, man.
Wow.
So my Jackson Kelly caught my string, my wire.
That guitar is so iconic to me, man. Like,
yes,
you have no idea. Like,
well, this is my Marty Friedman influence. Marty Friedman played a Kelly's. I had to play a Kelly too.
Can you ask? I know, like, it's not to do with you much, but on the Alive in Athens, from the footage, obviously they put out the DVD a long time afterwards. You couldn't really tell what guitar John was using, but I always liked the look of that guitar. Can you tell us what guitar John was using on the Live in Athens show, if you remember?
Was it a Warlock?
I think it was a Warlock.
See, on the footage, you never see the bottom end of it. You always see like the front and the neck. You never see like what this bottom half of the body is like. So I never knew what it was. I'm just like, that looks really cool. What is it?
Yeah, I'm not positive, but it's a Warlock.
I think it's a Warlock, but I'd never seen it after that tour. I don't know whether he had a deal or whatever, but I never seen it. He didn't play that on the horror show out the tour, did he? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
He plays Gibson's now, doesn't he?
Somebody on our we have a guy that will tell us on our notes on the bottom of the YouTube page, so he'll let us know.
Okay.
We have a fan of the YouTube channel that fills us in of all the incorrect information that we get wrong. All the information we get incorrect, he will fill us in and correct us. So it's all
Not
good.
all of it's incorrect. Some we just don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know everything.
Nobody can know everything.
But we've never claimed to know everything. We're just fans, you know.
Now, with John on tour, did he ever say, hey, we're looking for this look, you should use this guitar, it looks cooler, or was he just whatever?
No, he never said anything like that.
So you could
whatever you felt comfortable playing.
So you could like basically fall asleep in your clothes, wake up the next morning, go on stage with the clothes you slept in, and be fine.
As far as like what you wore, yeah, it was a little bit uniform,
Okay, right.
But when it came to instruments, it was whatever you felt comfortable playing.
Cool. Your head's cut off again. Just saying.
Well, I think he's trying to get the guitar in.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
I'm tangled up in wires. Sorry.
Are you able to plug in for a moment for a podcast in stone first?
Well,
shall we call you?
check.
Can we call you Wiry Tarnowski, as you're covered in wires?
Wiry?
You're covered in wires. Wiry tag. Wiry.
I was going to go with Chicago Spice.
Chicago Spice. You're going to have to tell me if you could hear this.
I think he's broke his mic.
Something wicked comes.
His mic can't handle it.
Yeah.
He's fucking...
Yeah, it's scrambling a little bit.
Whatever. And then Chuck wanted something too.
A little pure evil.
I don't know if it's going to be pure evil.
Bit of desert rain. Life is like bourbon rice so cold. Press on!
All right. That's good.
You know, we got some very usable stuff out of there. Sometimes your mic couldn't handle it though.
Your mic was peaking out.
Sorry
big
about
time.
that.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, these microphones aren't made for that was so cool.
My phone is incredible for video though, just saying.
Okay.
That was so cool. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Not a problem. Were we able to get through the questions?
Yeah. I was just going to say, Jason, do you have anything else before we hit the viewer questions? Let's hear the viewer questions and then make sure that if there's anything that we have at the end. Are we keeping you too late, Larry?
No, I got a little bit of time. Hey, I just got to reposition myself. Hang on.
That was such an honor. You're gonna laugh when you see the video of me and Jason's faces.
I just got to get repositioned.
I done the falsetto during it. It was like seeds of oppression. Oh word. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Okay, your questions.
The viewers' questionnaires. You've pretty much just summed this all up. John Baylor asks, how were your days in Iced Earth? Simple question.
Exciting, fun. It was, like the sheet said, the roller coaster. Yeah, it just the entire spectrum of what a person might experience in their life kind of condensed into a couple-year period. You know, from just elated and intense excitement to, heartbreak and having to rediscover yourself and kind of figuring out that there's more than one direction in life, and maybe the direction you initially chose to go in may not be the one that you ultimately find the most pleasure in. I don't know if that answers it at all.
Just to let the viewers know, if you've asked a question that we've already covered so far, I'm going to be skipping it. So I do apologise there, but if you've already covered it, there's no point treading the same ground. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff we've already covered in these questions.
Now, Jason, if somebody's watching this and they want to submit questions to our next special guest next month, how can they do that?
By joining our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/podcast in stone. Be there or be square. Set Abominate.
We'll be announcing our next special guest in the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, and you want to be there. People want to be there for that, honestly.
Yeah.
Seriously, right. We've covered a lot of these questions already.
Sometimes we end up covering the questions.
Yeah, a lot of them, because a lot of these questions we've already spoken.
That's all right.
Yeah, that works.
I've got an interesting. JP Kipriani asks a really cool question. When you first joined the bands, did you have any trouble adapting your guitar style to the older Iced Earth catalogue?
Yes, just because, like I was saying before, it's really hard for me to learn other people's solos, and in Randy's was a very unique style to begin with, so that was very hard for me. Also, there was a I don't want to say push, but to make it as accurate as the original as possible. So not a whole lot of leeway to bring in whatever my style was.
I do apologise, but I think we've covered like all these questions already. Like people asking about your departure, how you got into the band, stuff like that. We've already covered a lot of this.
What was your favorite song to play live? Did you have one?
Good question.
The Coming Curse was always fun. I love playing Damien.
Damien is one of my favorites.
To play live.
Great.
Yeah, I love that song. It's very powerful.
Evil. I love the bass intro.
Yeah, the whole thing. It's just, to me, that was really fun. I was able to get into that really well.
Steve Kane asks, What do you listen to or like in terms of music these days that might surprise us?
I don't know if it will surprise anybody, but what I listen to a lot now, I guess it would be like a lot of melodic death metal. Like I love Morris Principia Mest. Um, I love Bloodshot Dawn.
Bloodshot Dawn are awesome.
Yeah, yeah, they're from your edge of the woods,
Yes,
I think.
they
Um,
are indeed.
let's see, uh, Scar Symmetry.
Scar Symmetry are fantastic.
They're amazing. And then, with that said, guitar player wise now, I love Paul Wardingham. That guy's out of this world. And then Andy James, also fantastic guitar player.
Can we talk about guitar players for a sec, as we're on the subject? I've always gone on record, like not on record. I've never recorded myself saying this, but when it comes to, I'm a big King Diamond fan, and I think Andy LaRocque is extremely underrated as a lead guitarist.
Yeah.
I think he's incredible. What do you listen to much King Diamond or anything that kind of stuff?
I fucking love King Diamond.
Yeah.
I should have added that to my thing of influences. Andy is, Andy's amazing. His phrasing is just gorgeous. The melodies that he comes up with are great. Same with Pete Black, that era of them and The Eye, of course, Abigail,
One of my favorite albums ever.
Conspiracy. Yeah, I love Conspiracy. That's my favorite.
Is it? I saw King Diamond like 2015. They played Abigail in its entirety, and it was amazing.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
good.
I never got to see him.
They don't tour very often, which is a shame.
Yeah.
How's the metal scene in Chicago now, Larry? You guys get a decent influx of bands coming in?
There's a lot of cover bands, like Maiden cover bands, Metallica cover bands. But to be honest, I haven't had a chance to go out much lately,
Okay.
so I can't give an accurate answer to that, unfortunately.
Did we cover all the viewer questions?
Pretty much, like I said, it's mostly to do with so Christopher Olofsson was asking about Imhotep and which parts you kind of contributed to, and
We already hit that, yep.
Yeah, what horror movie characters you wished had been done for the album, which I already asked.
Yeah.
I think we just stole everybody's questions and made our own podcast out of other people's questions.
we stole them.
We do apologise, everybody. But when you got a guest on for an hour, then I think a lot of things get talked about. So we do apologise.
Yeah.
Is it wrap up time, Chuck? Is it about wrap up time?
It is. Larry, I just want to say, I know you mentioned Megadeth earlier. I just want to say the Alive in Athens is kind of my Rust in Peace of Iced Earth.
Wow.
It's just my it's just, I have so many good memories. I got to see you guys twice that tour. Alive in Athens to this day is just epic. I mean, just epic. When I see that purple guitar on my TV all the time, I watch it probably at least twice a month for the last 10 years. And it still moves me, still touches me. It just, your time in the band, although it not be, super long time, it was very, very noteworthy. And you have not been forgotten. I just want to say how much your time in the band meant to me as a fan.
Well, that means a lot to me. You have no idea how much that means to me. It's been my pleasure, my honor to be able to perform music and bring a smile to people's faces. And it's so awesome to hear that. I appreciate, Chuck, what you just told me.
I want to say that I discovered Iced Earth in 2000 with their first album, and it basically what took me from liking the band to absolutely loving the band was Alive in Athens. It exposed me to a lot of the catalogue. It made me hunt down the older stuff, and that's when I discovered Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is my favourite album of all time. I don't care what anyone says, like, it means so much to me, and I'm on that kind of hunt. I'm trying to find the original pressing on vinyl, and it's eluding me so much. I'm like, I want it. So yeah, thank you for giving me that music, man. Like, that album is so special to me, and your work on that album is phenomenal. I think you're going to be immortalised in some of the best time of the bands. You know, Something Wicked, Alive in Athens, a Horror Show is like the sweetest of spots for the band in terms of their material.
Absolutely.
And you know, I would like to speak on behalf of Iced Earth fans that you definitely won't be forgotten, man. Because you're in that space where it's just like the band were on fire and you was a part of that. Yeah, the band was a 3-piece on Something Wicked This Become. They should have been a 4-piece because you was as much part of the album as the other guys were, man.
Oh, dude, I appreciate this so much, Jason. Again, like, it feels so good to hear that, and it's been a pleasure for me, like I said, to be able to do this for people just like me. You know, it's just it was an honor and a pleasure.
And thank you for sharing the your stuff out of your own collection. Seeing that guitar and the gold record just is amazing for fans to see that kind of stuff that we don't normally get to see. So thanks for letting us into your world.
Oh no, anytime, man. It's my honor. Anytime.
So send us home, Jason.
We of course have been Podcasting Stone, joined by Larry Tarnowski, formerly guitarist of Iced Earth. He's going to be immortalised in their history for sure. I've been Jason. I've been joined by my co-host Chuck Hoskins. We have been, of course, joined by the great Larry Tarnowski.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Join the Facebook group. The Facebook group, great place to be if you're an Iced Earth fan. We've got Gene Adam on the group chatting away. We've got Bill Owen from the Purgatory days. We've got Matt Barlow on there that jumps in with stories about the band. And of course, we've got Larry Tarnowski himself on the group as well, sharing his stories or whatever he wants to do there. So yeah, facebook.com/group/podcasting stone is the place to be. Be there or be square. Set Abominate demands it. That's right. Thank you everybody for watching. See you next time. See you later. Metal lives.